Hello everyone. Welcome to today's story. If you love everyday films filled with emotions about love, family, and the strength to overcome challenges, please subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any journey with Alex and Tuna. Every subscription and every comment from you is the motivation for us to continue telling these meaningful and heartfelt stories. On the peaceful hillside, when the night dew still lingered on the leaves, Tuna cradled her child in her arms, softly humming a lullaby as gentle as the wind. The small wooden house, nestled between a lush vegetable garden and a humble fish pond, was the place where she began her life anew. Every morning, Tuna worked tirelessly, feeding the chickens, scooping handfuls of bran for the piglets, tossing sweet potato vines into the pond for the fish. Though her body had not yet fully recovered after childbirth, her eyes still shone with boundless love for her child. It was a small happiness, yet also a burden that sometimes left her feeling unsteady. That day, just as the sun began to rise, an unexpected visitor appeared. A woman, neatly dressed and carrying herself with pride, entered the yard. She was Alex's older sister. Her eyes scanned the place, and her faint smile carried layers of unspoken meaning. "Tuna, I want to ask directly. Between you and Alex, what exactly is the relationship?" she spoke, her voice sounding both concerned and cautionary. Tuna froze for a moment. Her heart raced as she held her baby closer, as though shielding him. She knew well that a single wrong admission could shatter this fragile peace. "Sister?" Tuna lowered her voice, her eyes downcast. "I don't dare to have any feelings. I only feel grateful to Alex because he helped me during my hardest time. The distance between us is too great. I don't dare to think further." Her words were both sincere and sorrowful. The woman observed her for a long time, then gave a slight nod, though the flicker of doubt in her eyes had not disappeared. Tuna sighed and returned to her daily chores. Yet inside, she could not shake off the sense of unease. Could Alex's sister's visit be the sign of a storm about to come? While at the farm, Tuna was struggling with the chickens and the worries in her heart. Not far away, Alex was caught up in a completely different world. He was standing in the middle of the vast woodworking shop. The smell of freshly cut timber still raw in the air, the steady buzz of saws blending with the rhythmic pounding of hammers and chisels. This was the work he had built over many years, partly to make a living, partly to prove himself to his family. Today, however, the atmosphere in the workshop was heavier than usual. One of his trusted workers stepped forward, sweat beading on his forehead, and spoke quietly. "Alex, the batch of wood we just received isn't up to standard. If we keep producing, the products might not meet quality. The big client is waiting, but..." Alex frowned, picking up a plank to inspect it. Indeed, the grain was uneven, tiny cracks running across its surface. Even the slightest mistake could damage not only his reputation, but the company's as well. He lifted his head, his voice firm. "We cannot deliver poor quality. No matter how difficult it gets, we must find a replacement. Contact the supplier again. If it doesn't work, I'll find another source myself." His words made the worker breathe easier, though worry still lingered. The delivery deadline was only days away. When the others went back to their tasks, Alex remained seated at the old wooden desk. On it lay a folder of DNA test results, left unopened until now. With trembling hands, he flipped it open. His eyes widened in shock as the name Johnny stood out. The confirmation of the relationship cut into him like a knife. Countless doubts and unanswered questions rushed back all at once. Who exactly was Johnny in this life? And what meaning did his connection to Tuna hold? Alex leaned back in his chair, eyes closed for a long while. The sound of the saws still echoed through the workshop, but in his mind there was only a vast emptiness. He knew, sooner or later, the truth would come to light, and when that time came, there would be no turning back. That afternoon, the sky seemed heavy. Dark clouds slowly gathered, signaling an approaching storm. At the farm, Tuna still tried to work as usual. She carried baskets of feed, tossed greens into the pond, then bent down to pick vegetables in the garden. But unlike every other day, her body no longer had the strength. Her hands trembled, her steps slowed, and waves of dizziness struck again and again. The baby in the cradle whimpered. That small cry shattered the silence. Tuna forced herself to lift the child, holding him tightly, rocking him gently as she staggered toward the house. Beads of sweat streamed down, soaking her disheveled hair. In that fragile moment, Alex's image flashed in her mind. The man who had so many times reached out to help, who had silently protected her. Yet Tuna had never dared to step closer. Too many distances still stood between them, and above all, she feared. Feared the day when the truth about the child would be revealed. Tuna laid the baby down, but her legs could no longer hold her. A wave of faintness struck, and she collapsed beside the cradle. The baby suddenly burst into louder cries, as if sensing the danger. At the same time, in the workshop, Alex had just finished dealing with the faulty shipment. After a long and tense day, only one thought lingered in his heart: to return to the farm, to see Tuna and the baby. He told himself, no matter how busy life became, the place he longed to return to would always be that little home. The dirt road to the farm kicked up red dust as his wheels sped forward, and inside him rose a strange feeling, both anticipation and unease. When he pushed open the familiar wooden door, the sight before him left him frozen. Tuna lay motionless beside the cradle, her face pale, cold sweat trickling down her forehead. The baby wailed helplessly, tiny hands reaching out toward his mother. "Tuna!" Alex cried out, rushing over. He dropped to his knees, hastily pulling her into his arms. Her body was limp against him, her breath so faint it crushed his heart. In that moment, Alex realized every contract, every reputation, every success out there meant nothing. The only thing that mattered, trembling in his embrace, was what he must protect. He held Tuna tighter, his voice breaking. "Don't leave me. Don't leave the baby. Tuna, you have to hold on." Beside them, the baby's cries echoed through the small house, urging Alex to act without delay. That night, after the whirlwind of events, the small farm sank into silence. Silver moonlight spilled across the roof, casting its glow over three figures: Alex, Tuna, and the newborn, huddled together in fragile warmth. Alex sat quietly beside the bed. In his arms, the baby had drifted into deep sleep, the tiny face rosy under a thin blanket. On the other side, Tuna too had surrendered to an exhausted slumber. Looking at them, Alex felt a gentle happiness, simple yet profound, the very happiness he had long yearned for. And yet, deep in his heart, he knew he could not rest easy. The folder of DNA results in his pocket pressed on him like a heavy stone, reminding him that the truth lingered in the shadows, waiting for the day it would be revealed. Closing his eyes, Alex drew in a long breath. He decided to keep it hidden, at least for now. Tuna needed peace to recover, and the baby needed protection. He chose to bear it all himself, to face the storm silently so they would not have to. In that moment, Alex realized that true love was not only sweet words, but also quiet sacrifice. He was willing to shoulder the doubts, the pain, so long as it meant preserving a fragment of peace for his little family. Outside, the moonlight shone steadily, bathing the quiet room. A peaceful night came to an end, but ahead still lay countless uncertainties waiting to unfold. And now it's time to hear your thoughts. Should Alex tell Tuna the truth, or should he keep it hidden to protect her? If one day Tuna discovers everything, how do you think she will react? And you, if you were in Alex's place, what choice would you make? Leave your comments below to share your thoughts with us. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue following Alex and Tuna in the next episodes.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người, hôm nay chúng ta lại đến với Tuna. Khi Tuna đã đưa bé Henry về đến nông trại, Alex hốt hoảng đi tìm thì đã gặp cô ở nông trại. Và ngày hôm sau, khi Alex đang vội vã trong những cái đơn hàng và cái hợp đồng, và bất chợt người đồng nghiệp của anh ấy đã gọi cho anh ấy báo hiệu về ADN của bé Henry, và anh ấy đã phát hiện ra bé Henry không phải là con của anh trai hay là của một người nào đó, và anh đã muốn chạy ngay đến gặp Tuna. Và trong lúc đó, chị gái của Tuna, chị gái của Alex cũng đã xuất hiện và đã làm mọi chuyện nó thêm tồi tệ hơn. Cô ấy đã mắng mỏ Tuna và khiến Tuna rất ân hận vì đã quen Alex, nhưng Alex không để ý đến việc đó. Mọi người thấy video này hay và hấp dẫn thì cho mình một lượt thích và một lượt đăng ký kênh để mình có thêm động lực, mình phát triển thêm hơn nữa. Xin chào mọi người ạ.